Happy weekend to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this weekend. That's what it's all about, right, before the season starts. But in this video, we're going to do some Q&A, some mailbag. I took questions throughout the week from you guys in the comment section, threw it in this video, and decided to give you my thoughts so you guys can get your questions answered. Let's go. If you're a fan of the Lions, you need to go and subscribe to this channel, as well as go to lionsnationu.com for the latest and greatest gear that we bring on over there. So let's go ahead and get into the QA right now. We're going to start with the first question here is, should the Lions trade for Budda Baker? It's been on a couple of websites throughout the week. It's been, honestly, all offseason. Now, I seen the website that said we'd have to give up this year's second-round pick and next year's seventh-round pick to get a Budda Baker. 28 years old, look, safety. He's very good safety. He's one of the best in all of football. I've liked Budda Baker, but to give up the second-round pick and a seventh-round pick, second-round pick next year, which already lost to draft picks from this last year's draft, and another one in 26, seems a little bit too high for a Budda Baker in me. And I think the Detroit Lions are perfectly fine with the safeties that they have right now with Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, and Afutu Melifonwu. Now, look, OTAs and minicamp, the safeties didn't look great, but the starters weren't playing. So what do you expect? Could they do it? They could. I think this would be an option more like trade deadline if they were to do. I just don't think that the Lions are going to be making a trade for anybody at this moment at all. I just think that they're going to stick with what they got until rosters get cut down a little bit. I know they got a lot of money in the cap, but they want to be smart. Budda Baker would definitely make this team better. He would make the safety room better. He's a great player. Do I think that should the Lions trade for him right now? I don't think that the Lions will. But a question for you. Do you think that the Detroit Lions will trade for Budda Baker? Why for yes and for no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next question here we're going to get is, should the Lions sign Justin Simmons, safety from the Denver Broncos? He's actually a free agent. And I would actually like this now. Lions got $38 million in cap. I don't think they're going to sign anybody right now, but I would like them to do it. I don't think they are going to do it right now. They very well, Justin Simmons may be waiting too for a situation where a starter goes down until training camp. So you got to understand that some of these guys just want to wait to see, and so that could be a thing for him. He does want to play on a Super Bowl contender. The Lions absolutely are a Super Bowl contender. I'd love to have him on this team. I just don't think that they're going to do that at this moment. I don't. I know it's a slap in the face. Everybody wants us to get this player, that player. When I look at the Lions organization, I just don't see it happening. I don't right now. Right now. If there's an injury, that changes. If they continue to suck through training camp and into the preseason, you could see a situation. I think they like Curb, they like Brian Branch, and Effie. Next question here. What free agent should the Lions sign? Well, look, we just talked about free agency right there. There's some individuals I'd like the Lions to take on. How about Yannick Ngakoue? He's from the Bears, from multiple teams, right? He's 28 years old. He's not old, or 29 years old. He's not old. He's still producing double-digit sacks, generally speaking. This last year, it was just a weird situation because of the Chicago Bears. But I think that he could be a nice fit for the Lions if we have no one else breaking out in the edge room. Again, the Lions could look to sign a player like him. He definitely would make the team better. But signing, again, this would be more into training camp, right? If we're not seeing anything at some point, then they could do it. A lot of these signings or want signings, it's just not going to happen right now until training camp starts and they get to get a feel of what's going on. But make no mistake about it, I'd like it. I think he would be a solid addition in a rotation, and he can get some pressure. That'd be nice to see. It would be pretty cool. So the next question here for you guys. Rank the Lions roster compared to the rest of the NFL. PFF just did a thing, and they had the sixth best roster. I actually have the Detroit Lions 1 or 2. I'm just going to go 1 here. I think that they're really good roster from top down, special teams, defense, offense, backups, depth chart. The starters are great. You can look at the edge, one edge, who's opposite Aiden Hutchinson. It's a question mark. You'll get the kicker position. Question mark a little bit. Other than that, they're solid. and there's always question marks on team, and that's why I'm giving the Detroit Lions the best roster in football. I think you could put it in really any order. Lions, I think, is one of those teams. The 49ers is definitely one of those teams. I do like the Baltimore Ravens. They did lose a little bit of talent here, but I still think they're a pretty good roster all around. Houston Texans is a great roster as well. Green Bay Packers, they have a pretty good roster. Those are the teams, generally speaking, that, up there. The Philly, Kansas. I think the Lions got a much better roster than the Kansas City Chiefs. They got Patrick Mahomes, who's the ultimate player, but just the depth all around of all the other players is just not as good as enough. Even though Patrick Mahomes is so good, he covers up a lot of mistakes on that team, and that's why he's one of the greatest of all time, because he's elevating that roster, and the Detroit Lions don't need much of an elevation, right? Everyone's pretty good on this team and all around the depth. So, again, I'm going to go with the best number one ranked, roster in the NFL. But again, it doesn't mean that the Lions are going to go win the Super Bowl. Just because you have the best roster doesn't mean that. There's many things have to come in when you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Roster is one of those. Health, schedules, all that type of stuff. They have picks in there. So I'll go with the best. Next question here, and let me know in the comment section before we go, what rank do you have? 1 if you think the best, 32 if you're a Bears fan. Next question, who wins the kicker battle? Great battle taking on James Turner, the Michigan kicker, undrafted. He's battling Michael Badgley, who's also battling Jake Bates. We have 3 kickers right now for the Lions battling it out. And maybe by the time this video hits while I'm recording it, maybe a kicker got released. But right now, all 3 are in the roster while I'm making this video. So who wins the kicker battle? It's really difficult. I'll go with, it's hard because Michael Badgley's legs got better. James Turner is younger, and he's shown a lot of promise. And Jake Bates has done great at Ford Field for the UFL. I'm going to just go with Michael Badgley. I'll say Michael Badgley wins it, even though it literally this is 33% each guy. Right there, I don't think anyone right now has a leg up on the other. Jake Bates is a 2-year deal, right? That's really it, but you got to prove it in camp. So I'll go with Michael Badgley, but in all honesty, if you go as James Turner, or if it ends up being Jake Bates, it all is just as likely. I think they're all 33%. I think they all have a leg in, pun intended, in this battle, and we just going to wait for the best to win it. What should the Lions do to upgrade the roster? There's a couple free agents you could look at, right? Edge, we talked about that. Maybe they could want to get a little bit more depth at wide receiver if they wanted to pick up a wide receiver. They can get depth. Really, that's it. I guess you could put another linebacker in there, battling out for maybe the 5th one. Good roster. It's a good roster. So what should the Lions do to upgrade it? Well, not much. It's so upgraded. It's not much they have to do. I really don't think so. This is a good roster, but you could get better edge. I guess you could get better at defensive tackle. We're talking just depth, but we're nitpicking here, folks. When you have one of the best rosters, really difficult. They could make it. What I'm looking for is Robert Woods, if he gets released from the Houston Texans, because there's rumor he may get traded, but I think they just probably get released. Then the Lions could pick Robert Woods up, and he would add him to the Lions wide receiver core. That could help out, really. Edge, really? Or maybe make a trade at the trade deadline. But right now the roster is so good, it's difficult to nitpick. It is. So we'll just go with edge because it's so difficult. Next question here for you guys. Let it go. Will the Lions win the coveted NFC North that we did last year? Green Bay Packers upgraded roster. Chicago Bears upgraded roster. Minnesota Vikings, we don't know what they're doing. So I'm going to go, Lions got, I don't think Minnesota gets it. So I'm going to just go, you got 3 teams here. I don't think Chicago gets it. They got rookie quarterback. And regardless if you think he's going to be great, bad, or not, he's a rookie. Rookies struggle. So it comes down to kind of 2 teams here in Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, both really good teams. And I have the Lions winning the NFC North. But it could go, I have the Lions, I'd say like 40%, and then the Green Bay Packers at 30%. And then you can just put like 25% on Chicago and 5% on Minnesota. So I still have the Lions as the best team it's the physical team. There's only 3 games that they're not indoors the whole season. Then that basically gives a 10-point, not 10-point, but the QBR of Jared Goff goes up by 10 points when he's indoors and compared to outdoors. The roster is solid, so I have the Lions winning the NFC North. If you want to do a win total, we can do that right now for each team. Might as well throw it in there. So the Minnesota Vikings, I have them 4th in the NFC North, and I think maybe 6 wins. 6 to 7 wins. I think that's the Minnesota Vikings area. Again, they got Sam Darnold, and I think he'll start out the season, and JJ will come in halfway through. But they're, I want to say a rebuild, but a retool. They had to retool a little bit, but they still got a good. They're not a bad team, right? They're not. It's not like it's a Carolina Panthers or the New York Giants. So next team, number 3, again the Chicago Bears. Here, I could see them getting I'll go with 8 wins. Again, I think they get 8 wins. That is a good progress for that team. Their defense is looking really good last year, especially after they got Montez Sweat. They just got a new offense, new players. It's going to take a little bit of time to gel. Lions in Lions and Packers. We're sitting here. I'm going to go Packers number 2. I'll give the Packers 10 wins. I think that they're a 10-win football team. They're a wild card team. They're a good team. They got a good young roster, but the Lions are better. And I'll go with Lions 11 to 12 wins. NFC North champions. Hosting another playoff, hopefully hosting 3 playoff games at Ford Field, and then we go to a Super Bowl. So thank you, folks, for the questions. If you want your questions, again, on here, you just blow up the comment section of each video. I take it, and I throw it on there, and then you can see some of your questions on there. So go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe, put in comments, and let us know. We're dropping videos every single day. Go to lionsnationu.com for the latest and greatest gear, shirts, hats, all that type of stuff. With that said, folks, adios.